So video 2 here is going to start going over the heart, and this one is one of those areas in the class that are pretty challenging for students. And so make sure that you review this one, look at this one from different angles when you're doing it in class and when you're just studying it on your own. So looking at this heart, some of the aspects that we see the apex down here where it narrows on the bottom. Anything that's red on this model you can assume is typically going to be an artery, and the blue ones are going to be veins. And that holds true except for the exception here of the pulmonary artery and the vein. So starting with just some of the basics here on the heart, we have the chambers. So we're going to have the right atrium here on the top. We're going to have the right ventricle here on the bottom. And then we'll have the left atrium and the left ventricle. So if we open those up, you can see that we have left atrium and left ventricle. Now the atriums and ventricles are separated by septums. And so the one between the ventricles is called the interventricular septum. So that's this area right here. And then we're going to have the interatrial septum that separates the two, the right and the left atriums up on the top. Okay. Between the right atrium and the left atrium, we're going to have a valve. This valve here has three flaps and is called the tricuspid or the right atrioventricular valve. So the blood will come from the right atrium to the right ventricle. It comes through this valve, and then we'll move up through the pulmonary semilunar valve to the pulmonary trunk, and then the pulmonary trunk turns into the pulmonary artery. So here's the one exception here and here, that arteries are actually blue because these ones are carrying the deoxygenated blood away from the heart towards the lungs to pick up the oxygen. Now when the blood comes back to the heart, it's going to come in through the pulmonary veins. So we're going to have one set here, and then if we turn it around, you can see it on the other side, or we can look through here, and here's the other set of the pulmonary veins. So the veins carry the blood towards the heart. Come into the left atrium through this next valve, which has actually three different names: the mitral valve, the bicuspid valve, or the left atrioventricular valve. Okay, so blood will pass through here into the left ventricle, and from the left ventricle, hidden underneath this flap here, is going to be, let's see, underneath here, number 45 back there is going to be the aortic semilunar valve. Then the blood will come up through the aorta, and then it has the different branches up here that we'll go over later. Okay, so there's a lot of information that we just went through, so again, read through it, draw a flow chart out, and then start adding in these layers. So some of the other aspects that we can see in here. We can see the folds in here, the trabeculae inside of the heart. We have the papillary muscles, which are the muscles that adhere these valves down. These stringy portions here called the chordae tendineae. So we have the trabeculae, we have the papillary muscles, we have the chordae tendineae, and then we're going to have the valves itself. Okay, and then it'll be the same thing on this side here. So the valve flaps are going to be the chordae tendineae, and then the papillary muscles, and then those will all adhere to the different parts of the trabeculae, the inner walls of the heart. Okay. Now the heart has a few different layers here. It has three different layers. So on this surface, we're going to have the pericardium, and then it's also going to be referred to as the epicardium, epi meaning above. Okay, so we have that on the top here. Then as we look at the second layer of the heart, it'll be this wall here, it'll be this wall here, oops, sorry, here we go, this wall here, and this will be the myocardium. And then anything that the blood actually comes in contact with on the inside of the atriums, the inside of the ventricles here, this is all going to be the endocardium. So three layers. The outer is the peri or the epi, then we're going to have the myo, which is the muscular portion, and then we'll have the endocardium on the inside. Okay. All right. So let's end that for the second video here, and then the next one we'll go into some more of the vasculature, and then we'll have one more video going over the neurological structures inside the heart.